Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shaped the game. I'm Dean Gemmeland. With the U.S. National Championships getting underway this weekend, I decided to use a couple of additions to put the spotlight on some American players. So here's the skip of the team that's the number one seed in the event. Yes, Canada, for some reason, they seed round robins down here. A four-time United States men's curling champion and currently number 17 on the Asham World Curling Tour money list, Jason Larway, welcome to The Curling Show.
Hey, Dean, thanks for having me.
Hey, you're leaving Seattle shortly for cosmopolitan Hibbing, Minnesota to play in the U.S. Men's National Championships. And as the leading American team on the Asham World Curling Tour this year, more than a few have picked you to win. You even picked up the dreaded Ben Tucker curse, something only Americans will understand. A lot of people down here talk about a Big Five teams, but I think it's a pretty even field. How many of the 10 teams do you think have a realistic chance of winning?
I'm going to go with 10.
Oh.
Just from the standpoint that...
You're savvy, that's what you are.
That's right. I think every team that goes there thinks they can win, so obviously we're one of those teams. So I'm not going to speak for other teams, and everyone got there by winning, so in theory, everyone should have a chance of winning it.
Let's talk about your performance on the World Curling Tour this year. You guys had a good run out in New Westminster, I guess, early in the season. You beat Jeff Stoughton. You've beaten a lot of name teams in Canada. And you were chosen rightfully, I think, by the USCA to play in the last Grand Slam. You did better than teams Fenson or Burr, but I doubt it was quite the performance you were looking for. Do you feel pressure? Do you feel the pressure of trying to represent the U.S. well at a Grand Slam event?
Not really. We don't look at it from that standpoint. I think Fenson and Burr, when those guys go there, they're there for their own individual purposes, and we were there for our own individual purposes. And I don't think we really look at it that way. Of course, we want to do well. We want to do well for the U.S., but I don't think we feel any added pressure.
When you say individual purposes, what do you mean? Just trying to improve your own game or trying just to play well and compete well?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for our team because it lands in the schedule where we're really not playing in anything, and we have a chance to go and play against the best teams in the world on the best ice. So it gives our team a chance to get that experience and to get better.
With your location, you play a fair amount in British Columbia. You get to play in Western Canada a bit. I've said I think Canada is actually separating itself once again at the elite level of curling. Not only the top 4 or 5 teams extremely strong, but I think the top 20 or even 30 are better than they were in Canada, say, even 10 years ago. Would you agree?
I would somewhat agree with that. I think what the Grand Slams have done is it's created somewhat of a unique playing surface because the ice is so swingy and it's so fast. So I think those top teams have got to play on that ice for so long now that they have really separated themselves on that level. I still think the top teams, you get them in a regular club that only has, 3-4 feet of curl, and maybe it's 23, 24 seconds. I think that tends to level the playing field.
Had you played on any ice similar to the slam ice this year?
Mark Schurock does the ice at our nationals. He's been doing it for about 4 years now, so that's only the one time a year we really get a chance to play on that type of ice surface. So we have had some experience, luckily.
So what's do you like that surface? I actually said online that I thought you guys would fare well on that surface. Do you like it better? Would you like to play it more?
Oh, absolutely. We love it. I think all the teams love it. I mean, the more curl, the better. I mean, we're so used to playing in clubs where, the ice just doesn't curl. It's just dead straight.
Right.
So when we see curl, we love it. That's what the game's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Saskatchewan men's provincials this last weekend, and they had Schurock do the ice, and it was great. I mean, everybody's, there's just a lot more shots to be made.
Absolutely, and even for the fans watching, and I think that's why the Grand Slams are so popular. And Mark Schurock remakes the ice. It opens up shots that you just normally don't see.
Hey, last year you lost to eventual champion Todd Burr in the semifinals in Utica, New York. You have Greg Persinger as part of your lineup this season. How do you feel about your team and its play this year versus last?
I think, last year we really couldn't beat anybody for the most part. And then
that's quite an assessment. You couldn't beat anybody.
Well,
we sucked completely.
We're kind of hard on ourselves, in terms of the Bonspiel season. But we kind of looked at it as a 3-year deal. And this year we played better in Bonspiels. We qualified in every spiel. But we had a hard time winning once we qualified. So I think our team has slowly improved, week to week and obviously year to year, and that was our goal from day one. So I think we're on a track of improvement, and so we're just going to kind of hope to continue that through this Nationals and hopefully through next year and next year's trials.
Lots of back and forth online about the U.S. playdowns format this year. I made it pretty clear that I think we have a system that makes sense considering the number of curlers in this country, the geography, and the depth of the talent pool. I think a couple of tweaks would help, but I don't think an overhaul is required. Like me, you're not in the Midwest, but so what's your opinion of the current system?
I think it's fine. Ever since they went to the regional format and got rid of the state reps, I think it's really killed competitive curling to a point. I mean, we're down to only, I think, 37 teams played down this year. And the last year, the old format, I think we had 127 teams play down.
Wow.
So, but what it's done, I think, has made our top teams better. So depending on what you think is good or bad for the game, I think it is what it is. But I can't complain with the format right now. I think it's okay, given that we only have 37 teams. I think we need to do some kind of regional thing.
Hey, how do you account for the fact that the women only have, you're talking about 37 for the men's, the women have 7 in the whole country?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other extreme is that, a couple of our women's teams have gotten so good and really distanced themselves from the rest of the field that I really think a lot of the other women's teams feel somewhat helpless against them. So good, bad, or indifferent, our top women's teams are really good. The bad thing is that it's kind of killed competitive women's curling because of it. Yeah, I mean,
they're just, I think they have done a good thing down here with that Club Nationals. That seems to be an event that grows nicely, but I don't quite understand the gender gap, that's all, because there are a lot of women curlers.
Yeah, exactly. The only good news, I think, is that our juniors seem to be really doing well, and our clubs really seem to be doing well in terms of general population, so hopefully that'll be a good base for the women's teams in the future to draw from.
Hey, talking about how clubs are doing, how is curling doing in Seattle?
Seattle's doing great. I've heard we're up to over 450 members, which is almost our capacity.
Yeah, 5 sheets in Seattle, right?
Yep, 5 sheets, and, leagues are full. We run leagues on weekends now. We never used to do that years before. So it's great for curling in Seattle.
I really think and I'm going to guess you're going to agree with me because you're on a coast, but the game is growing on the East Coast as well. But the heart of the game's always been in the Midwest, but it seems to me the growth is on both coasts.
I agree. And I think those are the markets that have the potential for the growth is why.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have more people, and, I lived in the Midwest for a number of years, not in a curling spot, but in the Midwest, and I love the Midwest, but there's no question that, our sport will only take off when it gets popular in major media markets.
I totally agree.
All right, well, you'll be popular with the Midwest guys then.
Yeah, exactly. I'm already not, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, you don't think so, eh? Do you really? What do you make of the big middle versus the rest of the country in competitive curling in the U.S.?
Well, I used to curl with Pete Fenson for a couple of years there, and we always give jabs back and forth about, the regionality. And I always told them that basically the important people live on the coast, and all the middle people are just the gappers. They just fill in the gap in between the important people.
We'll call it flyover country, right? They'll really dislike us now.
Yeah.
I used to live there, so I shouldn't be making these jokes, but now I'm on the other side, so I'll call it flyover country. Nonetheless, there is no question that the bulk of the top players in this country are still in the middle, in the Midwestern states, but there's no question that the growth is happening here. I know in our area for sure. I mean, we have 2 sheets in New Jersey, and we could support a whole lot more.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have 450 members in 5 sheets. I'm sure you could support another curling club, towards Tacoma or something.
Oh, we certainly could, and I think that's true in a lot of places. Curling's really grown in places like Portland, Oregon, down in Phoenix, and a lot of those club members I know are curling currently out of hockey arenas, renting ice. Just getting facilities built has been so difficult.
Yeah, well, it's a $1.5 million proposition at best, I think. So it's tough.
Exactly right, and finding rocks.
Right. You played in a World Championship in 1989, I believe. So you've been at this for a while. How did you get involved with curling?
Pretty typical story for a lot of Americans. My parents are Canadian. Okay. My mom was born in Saskatchewan, in Wapella, Saskatchewan. My dad was born in Napinka, Manitoba, not too far from Brandon. So I've got a lot of Canadian roots. All my relatives live in Canada. My dad finally ended up in Seattle for an engineering job, and just for fun, I think they looked up to see if there was a curling club, and they couldn't believe there actually was one.
They probably just wanted to hang out with some Canadians.
Yeah, exactly. They're probably feeling lonely.
You know, it's interesting. Do you find that most of your new members since the Olympics are not sons and daughters of Canadians?
Oh, definitely that's true. I mean, in the olden days at the club, pretty much everyone was either Canadian or was Canadian or knew a Canadian, but now it's definitely changed. It's absolutely changed.
And the nice thing is these people come in, they don't have any preconceived notions about curling.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, even Canadians, Canadians make fun of it at times. You know, Canadians who don't curl. These Americans come in, they have no thoughts about it like that.
Yeah, it's true. We can usually spot the Canadians when they come in because they actually, they have a good delivery and they kind of know a little bit about what's going on.
All right, Jason, we end with the run back. I give you a topic, you give me your thoughts in 1 to 3 words.
Sounds good.
Your coffee order.
Say that again?
Your coffee order. You're in Seattle and all. What's your coffee order?
Oh, gotcha. Hot venti vanilla latte.
Oh, geez, it is complicated. Wow. The Rockstar reality TV show that may or may not be in the works.
Could be great. I've heard about that. That could be great. I'd say why not?
Yeah, why not? I think it would be great. I'm not sure if it's still going to go now this writer strike's over, but hopefully it does. Best thing about U.S. curling?
Best thing about U.S. curling? Probably the camaraderie. I think all the players like each other and enjoy the competition.
More than the Canadians?
I think so, for sure.
Really?
All the top level. Oh, yeah, I think all the top...
Well, it's a smaller group, I guess, right? So yeah.
But even then, I mean, all the teams get along, and we actually kind of support each other when the different teams represent the U.S. And it's just not a lot of the animosity that you kind of see among the Canadian teams.
Bob Dylan
is from Hibbing.
I don't know if they have some sort of museum or what there. Do they have anything? I hope they do.
Yeah, we drove through there a couple years ago, but we blinked too fast. I think we missed it, but I think there is something there somewhere.
Most underappreciated person in U.S. curling?
Great question. I'm going to go with Craig Brown.
Craig Brown.
Yeah,
I was an option. I was an option there too, Jason. I might add.
Okay.
Craig Brown is a good choice. So
great player, and
yeah, he is a great player, and he's done well over the years. So I mean, he's got a good team this year. We'll see how that unfolds next week.
Absolutely, yep.
And finally, Washington State wines.
The best.
They really are. I tell you, I'm a big fan of Washington State wines. I'll give them a little plug here. I think it's an underappreciated region.
It's growing really rapidly, too.
All right.
There's wineries popping up everywhere.
All right, Jason, I give everybody a chance to name their sponsors. I don't know if you guys had any or not, but if you did, let me know who they were.
We did not have any. Other than all the casinos we frequent on all our trips, we would like to say thanks to all the poker players who donated their money to us.
So you were able to get some sponsorship that way.
Absolutely.
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, when you're in a city like Seattle going around asking for sponsorship dollars.
Yeah, it's a little different for us because we were able, fortunately, to get U.S. funding.
Right.
So we didn't really have to go out and chase, sponsorship like most teams I know have to do to kind of make things work. So,
right.
I think we were very, very fortunate from that standpoint.
But if you did have sponsorship, you'd be staying at the finest hotel in Hibbing this week or next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the sponsorship would have helped a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, thanks for your time. Good luck next week. Like I said, I think it is a great field, and I hope we see some great curling.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dean.
That's Jason Larway on The Curling Show. Thanks for listening. Here's the Canadian band that really should be huge in the USA.